Storm Chasers by J.A. Henderson. Illustrated by John Stewart. Highly confidential. From Sting, Charles, to Top Secret. Subject, Team X. Villain profile, The Collector. 2. Following the arrest of Dr. X, we have made several changes at NICE. NICE is now the National Institute for the Conservation of Earth. Danny Day has been appointed to the position of Senior Scientist. The mission of NICE is to help protect the planet and the precious things in it. In order to help NICE in its mission, Danny Day has employed a team of 4 agents. She assures me that they are highly capable. In order to protect the agents, their real identities must remain a secret. They've been given the name Team X. Their operation status is now Code Green. Team X have been monitoring a new villain. He calls himself The Collector. The Collector is known to have carried out some serious crimes. See file attached. I will keep you informed of any further changes. Regards, Charles I. Sting, Director of Operations, NICE. Important agent information. Read this first. Villain profile, The Collector. Threat category, high. Known crimes: theft of the entire population of cod in the North Atlantic, theft of the White Cliffs of Dover, attempted theft of the Sphinx at Giza. The robbery failed, but he did get away with the Sphinx's nose. Appearance: dark hair, brown eyes, 182 centimeters tall, snappy dresser, bionic hand, spectrum retina enhanced implant. Profile: The Collector is a billionaire. How he made his fortune is not known. His goal is to own the biggest collection of snow globes in the world. Using advanced microscience, he shrinks and steals valuable objects. No target is too big. He does not care about the consequences of his actions. Other things to note: he likes to send snow globes to taunt his victims. Team X destinations: continent, Europe, country, United Kingdom, destination, Scottish Highlands. Climate: temperate and changeable, snow common in winter. Continent: North America. Country: Panama. Climate: hot and humid, rainy for most of the year. Continent: Europe. Country: Switzerland. Destination: Central Alps. Climate: temperate. Mountains are snow-covered throughout most of the year. Chapter 1. Oklahoma, USA. Maggie Mulligan lay on her back, eyes closed. By her side, 4-year-old Kira played with a rag doll. Their Ford pickup was parked by the roadside, steam rising from the radiator. The local garage had promised to send a tow truck as soon as possible, but the nearest town was 40 kilometers away, and it would be a half hour before anyone could arrive to repair the overheated engine. It was warm for March, and Maggie had almost drifted off when Kira poked her shoulder. "Mummy," the girl said apprehensively, "what's that in the air?" Maggie rolled over and looked in the direction Kira was pointing. A huge inverted triangle split the sky, black and pulsing. The downward point danced along the ground less than a kilometre away. "Get under the truck, honey." Maggie scrambled to her feet. "Get under the truck and lie very still." She tried to keep the fear out of her voice, but the little girl winced at the tightness of her grip. "Is this a game?" she said hopefully. "Yeah, that's right, it's a game." Maggie almost shoved her daughter under the vehicle. "Keep as flat to the ground as you can. Mommy will be there in a minute." It was hard to gauge the size of the black mass against the vast sea of wheat, but Maggie had lived in the area all her life and knew exactly what she was looking at. It was a tornado, and it was heading straight for them. She pulled a mobile from her top pocket and then returned it. Interference caused by the storm would destroy any reception, and anyway, who would she call? No one could help them now. The whiplash tail danced towards her, shredding the wheat stalks into a cloud of dust. Maggie's throat constricted in fear. She dropped to her knees and slid under the pickup, wrapping trembling arms around her daughter. "Shut your eyes, honey." She tightened her grip. "Don't open them, no matter what, you hear?" They lay together, listening to the noise of the whirling giant growing to a crescendo. Then, suddenly, there was silence. Maggie opened one eye. Nothing. "Stay here," she commanded. She crawled from under the pickup and peered over the bonnet. She stood and walked onto the road, legs shaking. In front of her, a huge swathe of golden prairie lay flat, mangled by the force of the twister. But 100 meters from the truck, the path of destruction simply stopped. "That's impossible," Maggie said quietly. "That's just impossible." The tornado had been the height of a skyscraper, and it had vanished.
Please explain this picture. Example answer. Maggie and her daughter were under their pickup truck, lying very still, because there was a tornado coming. Maggie told her daughter that it was just a game. Then the storm suddenly disappeared.
Chapter 2. The Storm Brews. Danny Day watched the multiple screens that lined the wall of the control room at NICE headquarters. On each monitor were sections of the globe overlaid with temperatures and graphs. "Something's wrong with the weather," she said. "You're telling me," Tiger sighed. "If it would only stop raining, I could go out on my skateboard." "I mean the world weather." "We know that too," Kat yawned. "You gave us a lecture about climate change the other day." "Well, it's important," Danny frowned. "Burning fossil fuels, methane from livestock, the destruction of rainforest, it all affects the atmosphere, which causes climate change, and that means stuff like the polar ice melting," Ant finished her sentence. "If it keeps up, we better start saving for a boat." "There are plenty of ways to prevent man polluting the atmosphere. That's one of the things NICE is investigating at the moment." Danny tapped buttons on her console. "But this problem is a lot weirder." A map of the USA filled the screens with one of the states outlined in red. "That's Oklahoma, part of America they call Tornado Alley." Danny zoomed in on the state. She tapped some more instructions into the computer, and a file about tornadoes appeared on the screen. File: Tornadoes. Description: Tornadoes are nature's most violent storms. They happen during thunderstorms and appear as rotating, funnel-shaped clouds. Wherever the end of the vortex, spiral, touches the ground, it creates massive destruction. Speed: Near the center of a tornado, winds can spiral around at more than 480 kilometers, 300 miles per hour. Location: Tornadoes take place in many parts of the world. They are most common in the United States of America, in states including Oklahoma, Kansas, Nebraska, and Florida. Size: Tornadoes vary in size from only a few meters to over 1,000 meters wide. "There was a tornado in Oklahoma yesterday," said Danny. "Only it vanished." "But tornadoes lose energy and break up anyway." Ant was keen to show off his knowledge. "Not this time," Danny corrected. "One minute it was tearing up the countryside, the next it was gone. And look at this." The screens switched to a map of the Gobi Desert. A mass of brown was swirling round the southern tip. This is a satellite recording of a sandstorm taken a few days ago, Danny said. It's a couple of kilometres wide. The children watched the sandy veil drifting menacingly over the landscape. Then it disappeared. Well, that is unusual. Max raised an eyebrow. Were there any witnesses? Nope. In the last month, 4 tornadoes, an electrical storm, and this sandstorm have vanished without trace. Danny rubbed her tired eyes. They all took place in isolated areas. That's a bit of a coincidence. Isn't it just? Danny gave a wry grin. She switched the screens to a satellite view of a jagged coastline, partly obscured by a circle of shimmering silver. That's a minor cyclone, happening right now in an uninhabited part of Panama. If there is a pattern to the disappearances, then this is a great candidate. I can guess what you want us to do, Ant smiled. Use the X-gate to teleport over there and record what happens. The X-gate teleport allowed Team X to get anywhere in the world in seconds. As if the rain here wasn't bad enough, Tiger moaned. Can we take umbrellas? You won't need them, Danny gestured over to the teleport launch pad. I've sent the driller on ahead. The driller was a stout, silver micro vehicle. You'll be completely protected. It's the sturdiest vehicle we have, and I've modified it to withstand any type of weather, Danny said proudly. It's your storm chaser. Danny typed the coordinates into the teleport launch pad. The X-gate shimmered into existence. What are we waiting for? Max strode towards the portal. Let's go chase a storm. The children materialised on a patch of boulder-strewn marshland near the driller. The sky was slate grey despite the tropical heat, but there was no sign of any storm. It's already gone, Tiger complained. Though he hated to get wet, he always enjoyed a good adventure. Looks like it, Max agreed. We may as well signal Danny to take us back. You kidding? Tiger said. I've never been to Panama. There must be something fun to do. Depends on how much fun you find rocks. Kat wiped her forehead. It's like a sauna out here. We could climb up that hill. Can't be more than 1 kilometre away. Tiger headed in the direction of the incline. If we get to the top, we can recce the territory and all that secret agent stuff. I suppose it wouldn't do any harm, Max conceded. We could take the driller, said Ant. It would take ages in that, pointed out Tiger. Let's leave it here. Chapter 3. The Cyclone. 10 minutes later, they reached the top, hot, sweaty, and panting. Not much to see. Max looked around at the expanse of sodden land. The place looks like a half-drained pond. He lifted his watch to his mouth. I'm going to call Danny and tell her there's nothing to report. Max could use his special watch to communicate with Danny back at NICE headquarters. He shook his wrist and frowned. Hey, this isn't working. I can't get any reception. The wind's picking up, Kat shivered. It's like the sky is closing in. I can't see nearly as far as I could a minute ago. Max, I know why your watch doesn't work. Ant bit his lip and frowned. If we were in the middle of a huge storm, the interference would stop you making transmissions. But we're not in the middle of a storm. Yes, we are. The other name for a cyclone is a hurricane, and it has an eye. You mean it's looking at us? Tiger glanced nervously around. The eye is a calm spot in the middle of a hurricane. It can be up to 65 kilometres wide. Ant nodded towards a grey wall, moving swiftly towards them. It had already enveloped the driller and was heading their way. The cyclone hasn't gone. Panic was rising in Ant's voice. We're in the centre of it. Should we shrink? Max asked Ant. Would that help? The wind speeds in a hurricane can be over 150 kilometres an hour. Ant shook his head. We'd be whisked away like bits of paper. Then let's run, Kat shouted. Did you hear the bit about the wind speed? Ant replied. We can't outrun it. I'm certainly going to try. Tiger sprinted off and sprawled flat on his face. Ow, he said, clambering to his feet. I stood in a rabbit hole. Use your watches to shrink now, Max shouted. Get into the hole. The four friends dashed for the rabbit burrow, activating their watches as they ran. They squeezed into the musty hole as the howling wind reached the entrance. There they huddled in the dark, listening to the storm raging above. When it had passed, they crawled from their hiding place and watched the hurricane surging across the landscape, whipping the marsh water into foaming fountains. Then it disappeared. Chapter 4. The Heat Wave. So let me get this straight. Danny paced up and down the floor of the control room, wringing her hands. Team X huddled together, covered in dirt. I give you an X-craft that can withstand any kind of weather, she fumed, and the first thing you do is go for a stroll. She flung her arms wide in exasperation. You could have been blown to China. We'll be more careful next time, Max said. There won't be a next time, Danny snapped. It's too dangerous. Then how will we get the information you need? I'll work on the driller again. Danny's tone softened, but in an extra strong transmitter so that it can beam through the harshest weather. Then we'll send it through the X-gate unmanned, let it record conditions and teleport it back. What will we do? Go and take a bath would be my suggestion. Danny folded her arms. I'm pretty busy right now, so you four can monitor the weather for the next few days. She glowered at the children over the top of her glasses. From the safety of this room, understood? You got it, boss, shivered Max. The next 2 days passed without incident. Team X took turns monitoring the screens, but nothing showed up. Then on Thursday, they spotted a blizzard developing in the Scottish Highlands. Look at this, Kat zoomed in on the white blob. It's a freak storm, pretty small and not near any habitation, just the kind of thing Danny was looking for. Then you'd better go and get her, Ant suggested. She's gone to some meeting and won't be back for a couple of hours. I suppose we could send the driller in ourselves, Max ventured. It's ready and waiting. I'm on it. Got the coordinates right here. Kat activated the X-gate and sent the driller through it. I'll start the driller's remote sensors and we can watch from here. She punched a few buttons and the screen switched to an eye-level view of swirling snow. There, she sat back triumphantly. The driller is now in the middle of the blizzard and transmitting images. Looks horrible. Tiger shivered. I'm glad we didn't have to go with it. Not much to see anyway. Kat rotated the camera 90 degrees. Just heavy snowfall. But the driller is also recording temperature change, atmospheric pressure and wind speed. Maybe Danny can learn something from that. Wait. Ant put a hand on her shoulder. Turn the camera back a bit. You spot something? Don't tell me, Tiger sniggered. It's a guy in a red suit driving a sleigh. No, look, Ant pointed. Off in the distance. The children could just make out a hazy shape on the screen. The snow was too thick to identify it, but the object was moving slowly away from the camera. What is that? No way to tell. It could be a vehicle or even a person. Kat studied the instruments. It's heading north, right on the edge of the storm. How fast is the blizzard travelling? Max asked. Only a few kilometres an hour. Then get some blankets and put something warm on. Max grabbed his jacket from the back of a chair and activate the X-gate again. We're going in. Danny told us we were not to go into another storm, Ant cautioned. We're not. Max nudged Kat. Set the coordinates a few 100 metres past the storm front. If that's a person trying to outrun the blizzard, we may be able to help them. Pulling on their coats, the children ran to the X-gate and stepped through. They found themselves on a snow-covered hillside, clumps of frost-laden gorse poking holes in the white carpet. The blizzard was swirling through a valley below them. The driller was right in the heart of it, almost obscured by the storm. Keep a lookout for whoever it was we saw, Max shielded his eyes from the glare. If they're still below us, they're in big trouble. It's not a person, Max. Tiger held up his watch. It was flashing a red X-bot alert. It's the master bot. Location: the collector's hideout. Meanwhile, in his hideout, the collector watched the master bot enter the blizzard. The collector was a master criminal with one goal: to own the biggest collection of snow globes in the world. Using advanced microscience, he was able to shrink and steal valuable objects. No target was too big for him. He did not care about the consequences of his actions. In fact, the more mischief and mayhem he caused, the better he liked it. His viewing screen filled with swirling snow, and he frowned. "That's the problem with storms," he muttered. "So difficult to see one's brilliant handiwork." And he switched off the camera. The Masterbot knew what to do anyway. Chapter 5. The Masterbot. "Everybody shrink now," Max ordered, "before the Masterbot spots us." "We can't," Ant looked down. "There's too much snow on the ground. We'd be up to our necks in it, and the driller is too far away for us to get to it in time." "That's why you bring me along." Kat pulled a thermal hand warmer from her rucksack and dropped it on the ground. "I'm always prepared." "Is there anything you don't have in that bag?" Tiger said admiringly, his voice growing high and tinny as he shrank. The hand warmer had already melted a circle in the snow. Now that it was the same size as the children, it gave off a lot of heat. "I must get one of these for my bedroom." Tiger held out his hands. "It's always freezing in there." "We aren't going to be safe for long," Max reminded them. "Once the blizzard reaches us, we'll turn into human icicles." "What will we do?" "I have a plan." Max tried a reassuring smile. "As soon as the edge of the storm hits us, we'll grow again and run uphill. If we're lucky, the snow will hide us from the Masterbot. If we're really lucky, we can move fast enough to stay just ahead of the blizzard. If we're really, really lucky, the wind will change and blow it in a different direction." "Not really a plan then, is it?" Kat said scornfully. "It's just running and hoping we get lucky." "Isn't that what we always do?" Tiger grinned. "Hey, listen." Ant put a finger to his lips. The wind had stopped howling. "And my watch isn't flashing anymore," Tiger added. "The Masterbot has gone. Then I guess it's safe to grow." The children turned the dials on their watches clockwise. Then they pushed the X and returned to normal size. Below them, the Highland Glen was a white carpet glistening in the weak spring sunlight. There was no sign of any blizzard. "I guess we got lucky after all," Max beamed. "I don't know about that." Kat swept her arm across the deserted valley. "The driller has disappeared too." Chapter 6. The Signal. "So let me get this straight." Danny paced up and down the floor of the control room, wringing her hands. Team X huddled together, dripping melted snow onto the floor. "This time, you don't even bother with the driller," she fumed. "You just teleport yourselves into the middle of a blizzard." She flung her arms wide in exasperation. "You could have been turned into snowmen." "Wasn't exactly the middle." Tiger shuffled his feet. "More like the edge." "We'll be more careful next time," Max said, elbowing his friend in the ribs. "There definitely won't be a next time," Danny retorted. "It's too dangerous." "Oh, that's what you always say," said Tiger. "Go and warm yourselves up," Danny said, more kindly. "The driller has a powerful transmitter. It shouldn't take me too long to get a fix on its position." "But what was the Masterbot doing there?" Max asked. "I don't know." Danny bent over the console and began punching buttons. "But it can only mean one thing." She looked over her shoulder at them grimly. "It means the collector is involved." Once Team X had warmed themselves and changed their clothes, they trooped back into the control room. Danny was pacing again. "Boy, she really is mad this time," Tiger whispered. "I'm not mad," Danny flung herself down on a chair. "I'm confused. Did you find the driller?" "It wasn't easy. The signal is much weaker than I expected." She ran a hand through her purple hair. "It was pure luck that I located it." She hesitated. "It turns out the driller wasn't under the snow after all." "So where is it?" Max frowned. "That's the part I don't understand. It's not even in the Scottish Highlands." Danny waved at the screen where a small blue dot was flashing on a map of the world. According to my readings, it's in a castle in the Swiss Alps. Chapter 7. A Trap? A castle in the Alps? Max was immediately suspicious. That sounds like the kind of place the collector would use as a hideout. Remote, fortified, easy access to Swiss bank accounts, I have to agree. Danny leaned back in her chair. I just don't know what we do about it. Send in Team X, Max replied decisively. This could be our chance to capture the collector, or at least find out what he's up to. I can't take the risk. It might be a trap. Then we act fast, Max pressed. You said yourself that locating the driller's signal was pure luck. The collector won't be expecting us to appear so quickly. It'll give us the element of surprise. Surprise? Danny scoffed. He'd be astonished if I did something that stupid. Then it's perfect. Tiger jumped up. I've had lunch and I'm ready to go. I hate to admit it, but Tiger's right. Ant squared his small shoulders. We should use the X-gate to teleport there right now, before he's ready. I don't know, Danny said. I'd never forgive myself if something happened to you. If the collector is up to something really bad, we have to know about it, Max cajoled. Yeah, the first sign of danger, Kat added. And you teleport us out again. Come on, Danny, we're Team X. This is what we do. All right, Danny stood up. But if anything looks dodgy, you come straight back, understand? The children nodded. Then let's go into one more storm. Chapter 8. The Castle. Team X teleported into a large hall, tapestries and stuffed animal heads decorating the walls. I must get one of them for my bedroom. Tiger gazed up admiringly at a surprised-looking moose. It's very tasteful. Get over here before the collector has your head stuck up there. Max yanked his friend into the shadows. He glanced down at Tiger's flashing watch. There are X-bots around. So is the driller. Kat peered at her own watch. It's in that room over there, but I don't get why the signal is still so weak. We'll worry about that later. Max hurried them towards a huge oak door. Look at the gap at the bottom. We can easily slide under. Team X turned the dials on their watches, shrank to micro size, and squeezed under the door. The room they entered had old portraits in ornate frames and suits of armour in the corners of the room. Along one wall, there were rows upon rows of shelves filled with gleaming snow globes, and no sign of any X-bots. Let's grow and have a snoop. Max activated his watch. Seems safe. The children returned to full size. They glanced around to see if there were any X-bots lurking in a corner, but they were alone. Just look at those. Kat stared at all the snow globes. I think we can safely say this is one of the collector's hideouts, Ant whispered. Max turned to Kat. Any sign of the driller? According to my watch, we're right on top of it. Kat began prowling round the room. There's another door over here. I'll check behind that. Wait a minute, Ant hissed. Before you go anywhere, you need to take a closer look at these globes. Not up to the collector's usual standards, are they? Max inched along the shelves, peering into each glass sphere. He had expected to see stolen treasures or top-secret inventions miniaturized and displayed like ornaments to satisfy their enemies' egotistical cravings. But he couldn't spot anything much at all. There's nothing but some kind of mist in this one, he frowned. And this one is just a regular snow globe with, snow in it. It's a lot more than that. Ant tapped the glass cautiously. I think this is our missing blizzard. Danny, Max spoke quietly into his watch. You there? Listening to every word. What do you make of this? He told her what they could see. Suddenly it all makes sense. Danny's voice crackled back. The collector is sending the masterbot to remote places where freak storms occur. The masterbot miniaturizes the storm, traps it in a globe, and brings it back to this hideout. And that makes sense. Tiger pulled a face. Danny continued. You break the glass, and the storm inside will grow to full size almost immediately. Imagine what would happen if the collector let that loose in a crowded city. The children's eyes widened. Or imagine if a globe was smashed in a building. Danny shuddered. A building like the headquarters of NICE, for instance. Team X could imagine it all too well.
Please explain this picture. Example answer. The driller was missing. Team X attempted to determine its location. Their computer indicated that it was located in a castle in the Swiss Alps. It was probably the collector's hideout. Danny decided to send Team X there through the X gate. They landed in a large hall inside the castle. They investigated the place and found many snow globes on the shelves. The globes were weather bombs under the control of the collector. The collector miniaturized a storm and trapped it in a globe. They decided to steal them into their rucksacks. There were some motion sensors under the globes. Sirens began to wail all over the castle. The collector would come to stop them at any moment.
Get over here, Max beckoned to the others. We've each got enough room for 3 globes in our rucksacks. He set his own bag on the floor and opened it. Let's grab as many as we can and teleport out of here. Max grasped the first orb and lifted it gingerly from the table. Wait, Ant gasped. There's some kind of motion sensor underneath. But he was too late. Sirens began to wail all over the castle. Chapter 9. The Collector. What now? Tiger wailed. Move! Max grabbed one last globe and headed towards the door. The others followed suit, frantically stuffing orbs into their own rucksacks, but they were stopped dead by a frosty voice behind them. It seems I have unexpected guests. The collector had materialized in a portal in the fireplace. And I haven't even had time to clean the place. That's all right. We were just leaving. Max began to back away. Now we know why you're stealing weather. We won't let you get away with it. Of course I will get away with it, the collector laughed dismissively. And you're right. I intend to send your friend Danny a little gift in the form of a rather powerful twister. Then who will be able to stop me? Run for the X gate! Danny's voice crackled over Max's watch. Right now! The collector's expression hardened. He raised his metal hand and clicked back one of the fingers, revealing a red button. Time to summon my minions, he smirked, pressing it. The door burst open, and dozens of tiny X-bots poured into the room. Head for the other door, Max yelled to his friends. And as for you, he flung the globe he was carrying over the collector's head. Catch! The collector reached up to grab the orb, forgetting that one of his fingers was still clicked back. The metal fingertip shattered the globe in a shower of glittering glass. A roaring black cloud enveloped the ceiling, streaks of lightning ricocheting off stone walls and incinerating the robots. Their metal casings acted as conductors, drawing bolts to the X-bots like magnets. The children sprinted for the other door and pulled it open. Max turned in time to see the collector scooped into the maelstrom, his arms and legs flailing as he was carried out of the nearest window. But Max's shout of triumph was short-lived as the lightning began shattering the remaining globes on the shelf. That can't be good. He sprinted after the others through the oak barrier and bolted it behind him. Chapter 10. The Storm. Team X found themselves at the bottom of a huge circular tower, arched openings leading to corridors branching outward like the spokes of a wheel, and every corridor was filled with flying Xbots. Up the stairs! The children leapt onto a spiral staircase and dashed upwards. They took steps 2 at a time, their cargo bumping around precariously in their rucksacks. Xbots were pouring through the arches at the base of the tower and whirring after them, the master bot in the lead. "I think we should definitely teleport out now," Max hissed into his watch. Danny, you there?" "The storms are interfering with the transmission," Ant wheezed. "You set loose all kinds of electrical interference back there." As if, on cue, the door they had come through flew off its hinges and a whirling mass of wind and broken metal enveloped the bottom of the tower, scooping half the Xbox into its vibrating body. "Tornado!" The children redoubled their efforts, powering round and round the stairs, still heading upwards. "Funny weather we're having for this time of year," Tiger grunted, leading the way. "You find humour in the oddest situations, you know that?" grumbled Cat. Though their numbers had been decimated by the storms, the Xbots were utterly tenacious. A dozen had avoided the tornado and were gaining on the children, the master bots still in the lead. "That thing won't give up," Max groaned. "Well, we can't make the situation worse now." Kat unslung her rucksack and flung it down the stairwell. It turned lazily in the air until it was caught by the tornado and smashed against the wall of the tower. A billowing explosion of rain and howling wind powered upwards, scattering the Xbots in all directions and plucking the Masterbot into its terrible embrace. "Oh, I'd say you made the situation a lot worse," Ant groaned. His legs felt like they were on fire and his lungs ached. "We're almost at the top." Tiger bounded up the last few flights and pulled open a door. "In here!" The children piled through the doorway and slammed the door behind them, leaning heavily against it as they fought for breath. They could hear the inhuman cacophony of the combined storms filling the tower. The entire building began to shake and plaster drifted down from the ceiling with each jolt. "Maybe we can escape this way." Max flung the window open and leaned out, the others elbowing him to get a better view. But the walls of the tower were as smooth as glass, a sheer drop of at least 100 meters, ending on the jagged rocks of an alpine cliff. There was a deafening bang from the tower. The door buckled and almost broke, and a crack scythed its way down one wall. "The whole castle is coming apart," Cat wailed. "We're trapped."
Please explain this picture. Example answer. During the sirens, the collector appeared. The children started to run for the X gate. The collector sent his minions to stop them, and a lot of tiny Xbots came into the room. Max threw one globe to the collector. The collector missed it, and the globe was shattered on the ground. It was a powerful weather bomb. A violent storm erupted. The storm made the collector fly away. The children had to run. There was chaos inside of the castle. The castle was going to fall, and the children were trapped. Discussion questions. 1. Do you think the children managed to escape safely from the collector's castle? What makes you think so? 2. Why did the children go to the castle in the Swiss Alps, even though their boss, Danny, warned them not to chase storms in person? 3. Were they able to complete the mission they set out to do? Thanks for watching this video. It's the first part of the book, Storm Chasers. Please continue reading through the link below. Well done. Thank you very much. Narrated by Teacher Phoebe from English Aloud. Questions and answers by Kevin and Phoebe from English Aloud.